Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the next episode of What the Did USBC Do Now? I'm your host, J.R. Raymond, and we're going to talk about the newest findings of the debacle that's going on between lane machines and all that good stuff. Kegel comes forward with an announcement as well as USBC to back that up. Did they actually admit wrongdoing? I don't know. We're going to find out here in a minute, so stay tuned. All right, so we've got some breaking news. I actually came in last night, and I was going to do the video last night. I'm glad I didn't because USBC added their own post on top of what Kegel did. And it sure seems like we finally have a little bit of accountability here. And it also made me look really smart because I'm pretty sure if you go back and watch those videos from prior, I talked about how I'm betting that they did some testing on those machines and just couldn't find any error codes or if there were error codes like that, if that's how they do it. But they couldn't find any issues at first, which is why they went to the next event thinking everything was okay and maybe it was just a fluke. But then they did find that it was an electrical problem that was making it to where something erratic happened in the machine and just decided to put out less oil or less volume on certain lanes for some odd reason. And we'll take a look here at the announcement from Kegel. Kegel made a post, and they said over the last 2 weeks at the USBC Queens in Las Vegas and the PWBA Classic in Grand Rapids, there were irregularities in ball motion on a few lanes during competition, which includes lanes 38 and 41 the first day of qualifying at the Queens and lane 31 last Thursday at the PWBA Classic. We observed the difference in ball reaction just like everyone else and acknowledged that something wasn't right on those lanes. Now, the key thing there is Kegel acknowledges something wasn't right, but for some reason, USBC came out and they said, no, we taped the lanes and everything was fine. Like they couldn't just use their eyeballs and show that, no, not everything was right. It wasn't just okay, and it wasn't just a topography thing. So they tried to play it off as if there was nothing wrong, and I really don't understand why. And just remember that Kegel and USBC are two separate entities, so they're completely different. They work together, sure, but it's not. It wasn't Kegel's responsibility to make sure USBC came out and acknowledged anything. So Kegel's kind of trying to do the right thing here and say, look, we're trying to do our due diligence here. Something was wrong. We're trying to look into it. We tried to figure it out. Couldn't figure it out then, but we figured it out now. So Kegel's been working with the USBC to explore possible reasons that could explain this. The random nature of this issue made it very difficult to troubleshoot, but our team has now identified what created the problem. Our lane machine had an unusual electrical issue, which caused it to sporadically apply less oil on the aforementioned lanes. Given the nature of this problem, we're confident this is responsible for the problematic lanes over the last few weeks. We feel terrible this situation occurred, and especially sorry to the bowlers who have been affected. We have a long track record of providing professional lane maintenance services for our tournaments around the world. Rest assured, we'll do everything in our power to ensure this doesn't happen again. And we don't have an issue with things like this, or at least I don't, and I don't feel like anybody else should really have that big of an issue with this. As long as people are held accountable, or as long as people hold themselves accountable for the issues, like Kegel is doing right here. The problem arose when USBC refused to acknowledge that there was a problem. That's the problem, and that's the entire reason why there was such an uproar about the whole thing, is because it's like, what in the world is going on here? You're going to just sit here and say, well, we taped the lanes and they were fine, and that just caused a bigger spark of issue later down the road. Well, after that post that Kegel made, USBC came out and they made their own. They wrote a letter and sent it to everybody. And let me pull it up on my phone here because I can't read it on the screen. The screen is a little too small to be when I pull it up. I'm going to put it up here in front of you. You can read along if you'd like. But it says, Dear 2023 USBC Queens participants. So they sent this out to the Queens participants. Today, Kegel CEO announced that an electrical issue with Kegel's lane machine caused irregularities with the lane condition on the first day of qualifying at the USBC Queens and the PWBA competition in Grand Rapids. Here's a copy of the statement, which is what I just read you. This is an unfortunate situation, and all of us at USBC are sorry it occurred. We take pride in delivering a great tournament experience for our bowlers. In consideration for what happened, USBC will provide compensation of $500, which is the entry fee, to each of the 59 players at the Queens who bowled on the lanes 37, 38, or 41 and 42 on day one and did not make the cut. Kegel has told USBC there are 2 new machines in use at the next PWBA tour stop in Cleveland. USBC fully supports the Kegel team and is proud to have Kegel as the lane maintenance partner for USBC championships and the PWBA tour. So again, I acknowledge and I appreciate that USBC is actually doing something in this manner. This should have been done that day. These announcements, this stuff, maybe not Kegel's announcements, but this announcement from USBC, this type of action should have been taken day one. That day that happened, USBC should have rectified that situation then and there. And all of these things that happened is exactly what I said should have happened in my last couple of videos. With Kegel removing those machines and bringing in 2 new machines, I said that. With there being an electrical issue and whatnot, of some kind of an issue that they had to troubleshoot that was probably hard to find, I said that. Which means the next issue, which means I would have immediately, if I was in charge, I would have immediately got rid of those machines and brought in some new ones. Because obviously, after that first, so what I think probably happened, and I said this already too, is once they saw that there was an issue, Kegel probably noticed it. USBC didn't want to acknowledge it, but Kegel was probably in the back of their mind or talking amongst each other saying, yeah, that wasn't right. Something's going on here. We need to figure out what the heck that was, because more than likely, that was our machines. What happened? So they went through troubleshooting these things and couldn't find anything after the Queens event. They couldn't figure it out. They had no idea what was happening. And probably what's really going on is they probably never really figured it out, but they're just assuming that there's some kind of an electrical issues that's causing these things to sporadically happen. That's just a good assumption. But I would have assumed that in the Queens. And to be safe, if I'm Kegel, I'm replacing those machines before the next event anyway. The problem is they ran those machines the last couple of days at the Queens and had no issues. There were no lane issues after that. So of course they're going to assume maybe the problem fixed itself, or maybe there really wasn't an issue. Maybe something, I don't know. Nobody really knew what was going on. So it's understandable why they didn't get rid of the machines right away. But to be safe, and I understand that those are really, really expensive machines, and shipping those ones off or whatever they have to do to ship them away, to ship new ones in, something like that, that's an expensive ordeal that you have to do. And so you're not wanting to spend thousands of dollars to get that done. But they did. So they're rectifying it. They're doing the right thing. They got some new machines in. I don't think you'll see these issues go on again. Will I say they're going to happen? They're never going to happen again. They're machines. This is just what happens. Like, things happen. Nobody's really at fault for this. You can say, oh, well, it's Kegel's fault because they built the machines. Sure. But everything mechanical fails sometimes, right? Nothing's ever going to be perfect when it comes to, any invention in the world. Like, I could be mad that my TV all of a sudden is, the Wi-Fi keeps disconnecting all of a sudden after 6 years that I've had it. Well, things go wrong. Things happen. That you have to expect things like that. So the issue, again, is not that the Kegel machines failed at, random spots. The issue is that USBC didn't take ownership of it. And that's where I have a problem with it. They waited until Kegel came forward and said, yeah, we have a problem, for USBC to say, oh, okay, well, they're the problem, so now we're going to fix their problem. No, USBC should have came right out and said, we have a problem. This is on our heads. Something happened here. I don't know what. We can't figure out what, but here's how we're going to fix it. And they could have sent out this letter that said, yeah, we're going to give that $500 to those people. We're going to try to take care of that, because that's really not fair. That's an unfair playing advantage for anybody that doesn't hit those playing at those lanes. So props to USBC for at least doing that. Negative props for not doing it fast enough, because they could have avoided a whole bunch of backlash if they would have done it sooner. And maybe I'm wrong on all this. Maybe it's possible I'm completely wrong about everything that transpired, and who knows? I have no idea. I'm just kind of spitballing here. It's just I'm just basically reporting the news as if I'm a reporter here, and I'm just giving you my opinion on this entire thing. So that's the way I see it. I don't know how y'all see it. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Am I wrong? Am I right? Do you think this whole thing was handled properly? I think now it's been handled properly. I just think it should have been handled properly sooner rather than later. But it is what it is. Could that have been avoided? Maybe not. You know, like I said, Kegel probably did everything they could to troubleshoot those machines and come up with nothing. And you can't blame them because the machines ran perfectly fine for the remainder of the Queen's event. So it must have had something to do with the machine sitting for a little bit before running again. Possibly. I don't know. I really don't know, because it's just weird that it was the beginning of the Queen's event, the first day of the Queen's, and then the first day of that new event. So again, all kinds of speculation here. I have no idea, but that's the news. That's the next episode of what did USBC do now. I'm going to get out of here. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. And until next time, we will see you guys later. Take care.